Maybe Saturday, the week might have just ended, but now it's time to get ready for next week. Now it's time to prepare to have a better week. Your clothes feel better when you feel better about yourself. Rolex and some Crocs and a high rise. Listening to some D Savage, my type of lifestyle. If you have a life that you don't want, it's because you deserve that life. You have the life you deserve. What's going on, Birdie? How you doing? You gotta look at the market as like a book. When you're reading a book, every word and sentence you're reading is getting you ready for the next word, getting you ready for the next sentence, trying to explain to you what's happening. Morning, everybody. New day. New money. It is 9:23 in the morning. It is Saturday morning. In about a couple minutes, we're about to be live with the team. I already have 13 of the students loading up into the call. We're about to go over all of the price action from last week, all of the trades from last week, and get prepared for Monday. Maybe Saturday, the week might have just ended, but now it's time to get ready for next week. Now it's time to prepare to have a better week. Now it's time to get ready so that when we come next week, we don't get hit with anything unexpected, we're not unconfident, and we're not doubtful in ourselves. We're going to make sure that we have a great week, and that starts with our Saturday, and that starts with reviewing the price action from last week so that we can understand and have a good understanding of what's likely to happen next and again from what happened in the past. So let's keep it simple. Let's have a great day, productive day. I got a lot of one-on-one calls with some students later on. I'll try to record some of those to give you guys some free game. Got to go to the gym. It's another day in the life, 22-year-old day trader. So get straight to it. A little bit more price action that we can go over. So we're going to mark up, same thing. I do the same thing every single time. Previous is high, previous is low. That's the first thing I do. What is the first thing y'all notice? I'll probably just have to draw it first. But first thing I will say is definitely this high right here. Like, that's the first thing I noticed because guess what time it happened? At 9 in the morning. So I also want to take it a step further with what Angelo said. He said it was a 50% retracement. I don't know if it was a 50% retracement specifically, but all I know is this high up here is something that's very prevalent in my eyes because this is like the start of this move right here before dropping. So I'm going to pull a fib from that high to this low all the way down here, which is the low before we started to retrace going into Monday, right? So then Tuesday when we hit this previous high, where on the fib would that be? So we're gonna go boom, boom. Let's get the 50%. It came close to the 50% of from that range. Let's see the 38.20%. These fib levels I don't really like that much. So I'm gonna take these off and I'm gonna try one last thing. One thing I always tell you guys, if you don't know where to draw your fibs from, draw them from the previous day's lows to the previous day's highs. So in this case, we wouldn't have really been able to draw it to the previous day's low and high looking for a short. But if we now go to the weekly time frame, on the bear side, go to the previous week, pull a fib from the previous week to the previous week's low, and see what that would add up to. Let's see, pull that over. So the 38.20% still was pretty close. So in this case, it doesn't look like we got a fib from those two areas. Now, if I were to pull a fib from somewhere else, I probably could get it to line up with somewhere. But just in terms of like where I usually pull my fibs from, I didn't get too much of a retracement. But neither here nor there, we still have this false break overall. So the fib wouldn't even necessarily be needed. But the first thing I noticed is at 9 in the morning, we had a run of the previous high. Now, why is this key? Because when we're overall bearish, right? When we're overall bearish, the best possible times to sell would be when we retrace, right? When we retrace higher. Now, how do you know when you're going to retrace higher? And how do you know how you're going to get a good move? You simply follow the plan, follow the system. If you're looking for value gaps, maybe you should look for a retracement into a fair value gap. And the chance of that actually creating a higher low and then reversing is more likely. If you're trading false breaks, maybe you should wait for a run or low of an old higher low before price reverses, because that might give you the best possible entry. Now, in this case, what happened on Tuesday? Overall, Friday was bearish. Thursday was bearish. Wednesday was bearish. All these days were bearish, right? Basically something like this. We got a retracement. That retracement ran an old daily high. From that old daily high getting ran, that is when we got this false break move on Tuesday. It led price to overall keep dropping. Now, why is this a good move to catch? Because when you're looking to sell, you want to sell at the highest price possible. When you want to sell your shoes, when you want to sell your car, if you want to sell your watch, you want to get the most money you can get from it, right? And if you want to sell something, you want to basically be able to sell as high as possible, as high as humanly possible for what makes sense. That's exactly what we're doing here. Same thing vice versa if you're trying to buy. If you want to buy a watch, if you want to buy a car, if you want to buy clothes, you want to buy it for the lowest possible price that you can get, right? So in this case, selling high is why I like to go short at false breaks. Buying low is exactly why I like to buy when we have false breaks. So in this case, the overall trend is already bearish. So us running this high is fitting the overall trend of us wanting to be short. So that is why that would have been prevalent. We also have a big figure level of 35, well, no, 39, 39,600. So 39,600, even though this isn't like a crazy big figure level that I like to trade off of, it's still a big figure level that's having a reaction. So that's something that we should annotate. So at 9 in the morning, we had a run in the previous high, knowing the entire week was bearish. And we also had a trade into 39,600 big figure level. So we have two confirmations right now. If we also put in the perspective the overall trend, that would be about 3 confirmations for why price could possibly play out from this area. And this range is honestly so small that it looks like 39,500. 39,500 would probably be the big figure level, because that is the actual one that I like to trade off of. The main big figure levels I like to trade off of are going to be 200 levels, 500 levels, the regular whole like 000 levels, so 39,000, 40,000, 41,000, like those types. So 500s, 800s, 200s, and the whole numbers. Those are like the main ones I like to trade off of. They can react off of a 100 level, off of a 400 level, off of a 300 level, but it's the same thing with time frames. You can find a trade on any time frame, but which ones are going to be the ones that you stick to, that you have your confidence in? That's really what it comes down to. So in this case, we traded into 39,500 after running the previous high at 9:30 in the morning, and we're overall bearish. That in itself, those 3-4 confirmations is enough for you to be willing to want to take a trade. Now, when it comes to this week specifically, the ranges were wild. So let's see what this would have hit for. If you would have got this trade looking for about a 200-point stop loss, what is going on? What is going on, bro? With the safest entry with 200 points, you would have got stopped out by like 2 points. That's crazy work. That's with the safest possible entry. And this is with 200. Like, this is not me using 50. This is not me using 100. This is me like taking into consideration the ranges are wide. So 200 is what I was using for most of the week. And look at that. If you would have got the safest entry, it would have stopped you out. If you would have got a more riskier entry, getting in at 39,500 with a 200-point stop loss, you would have been able to catch that trade. The trade itself is a nice trade. The trade itself dropped crazy. That could have been a 1 to 11. It could have been a 1 to 12. But it's just these ranges are super wide, because the only difference from you catching this trade with the safest entry versus not catching it is the difference from having a 5-point stop loss a little bit wider or not. And in my opinion, you can't control that. You can't control when you're going to get stopped out to the pip. You can't control when you're going to get stopped out and is going to run your direction. All you can control is where you're getting in, how much you're risking, and the amount of trades you're allowed to take. In this case, if it would have stopped me out and immediately started coming back down, maybe I would have got back in. But that's all hypothetical. In this case, for you to be able to catch this trade 39,500 after running that high would have been what was needed for possible 1 to 2, 1 to 3. And then it just dropped. Like, for the most part, we can't control how far it's going to drop. We can't control if it was going to run and hit this previous day's low, because you see how close it did get to it and still didn't run it. We can't control none of that. The only thing we can control is up here. Seeing the specific action and price running the high at a specific time that's going to lead to the price action for the possibility that's going to have this move right here. The main thing that you got to take into account is all this. This right here. How would you caught this trade? Understanding that at 9 in the morning, the overall price from the last few days was bearish. We ran the previous day's high. So what is the rule of thumb? If you want to buy low. If you want to sell high. At this point, we're selling at the highest possible price. Most people don't want to buy most people don't want to sell at this price. But that's why you got to do others to achieve what they can't. In this case, you would have had the highest of the day. Most people aren't going to be able to catch that. But like I was saying, would have been hypothetical. Now you go. I was about to be over with this anyway. Now you go, bro. I would say most of the times my confirmations aren't necessarily conflicting. Most of the confirmations kind of help with it. What I will say is usually I'll have conflicting biases, like multiple different trades for multiple different ideas, if that makes sense. Like, say for example, I could have been overall bullish from down here. But so say for example, I could have been looking for a short here, but I could have been looking for that same short that I explained to you guys, and see how price came down and rejected this gap. Price could immediately just kept going bullish from here. And that's something that kind of happened because I either would have been already in the shorts, or I would have already been like basically missed the short. So now in my head, I'm thinking, did this retrace just for this to go higher and reject and just keep flying? or is this the right move? Usually in terms of confirmations, they won't conflict because in my opinion, it's kind of hard for confirmations to conflict because I trade the same way. Like a fib is just a retracement, and a retracement can't really conflict like with a gap. They're kind of just like tied together. But I will say I usually have conflicting biases because in this case, we were bullish all London. All London. We ran this high. There was no reason why, after having a nice little retracement and rejecting this gap and closing at 11 o'clock, rejecting that gap, it could have been, you could have been seeing longs just as much as people were seeing shorts, if that makes sense. But in terms of confirmations, I don't really have them conflict. In my opinion, the more confirmations I have with each other, it's just more reason why that area might have a reaction. But it's usually the biases that really conflict. Like, oh, I can see this and I can see this, but now which one do I want to take? That's usually a predicament that I'm usually in with like how I trade with this system. The more confirmations, the more likely you have a reaction. All right, we just got done the call and everything. I'm gonna give you guys some game and everything. Done with the session. It was approximately about an hour call, just hour straight game, just straight charts. I'll give you guys some clips and everything. It wasn't like too crazy, but I was trying to be as detailed as possible with the price action, with the shitty price action, but yeah. It's about 10:30. I gotta go to the store downstairs, and then after that, I'm gonna come upstairs, edit some stuff. And then from there, yeah, just get the rest of the day started. They still got like this little thing over there. I'm gonna try to get it as like dark as possible. Like that food festival that they had over there is still over there. All them people, man. All them just too much, but yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm about to go to the store downstairs, like a little corner store, get something to drink, and then come upstairs and then get back to editing this content and just continue with the day. We work hard for a reason. We want to enjoy the life for a reason. So do the work. If you want a life, work for it. If you have a life that you don't want, it's because you deserve that life. You have the life you deserve. Simple as that. If you have a life that you don't want, work harder. If you have a life that you think could be better, work harder. If you don't like your life, work harder. Regardless of what your life is, regardless how you woke up today, work harder. That's the best thing you can do to make sure your life improves. I'll say best bet, like I said, is go for the funded account instead of putting the money like into either an options or whatever account, and then at least do it that way. It's gonna be more of a day trading aspect, but they both have its pros and cons. At least this way would be cheaper. Because how much money were you thinking about putting into an account? Like if you were gonna, 600 to 800 a month, yeah. Like for all that, like you could be getting 2 to 3, maybe even 4, depending on the size of the challenges a month. And that's if you're not passing them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you pass them, then at least you're getting an account with some leverage to be able to make something. Like you'll be easily able to make 600 to 800 a month plus more if you at least have the leverage, which would you just need from passing account first. But to pass the account, you got to just make sure you can actually, because it'll be different from doing it on a long term, like being in it on a daily, day by day basis. You get what I'm saying? It just depends, but usually it's just like 8%. It's like 8% of whatever it is. So if it's like, no, 6%, it's 6%. 6% risking with a max of 3% essentially. So if you have, say, a 100K account, they'll give you 3,000 drawdown to try to make 6,000. And then you have like a 2,000 a day, like max. But if you use 2,000 a day, then you only have 1,000 left. So it's not smart, but that's the risk. Like people usually risk 500,000 a trade, depending on the risk. Maybe even 250 a trade if they're more conservative. But that's usually how it would go. And it's kind of more or less you get what you give. There's other stuff that require less time, but also, like I said, what you'll be able to get with it. Like content, I like it a lot because it's something that's always going to be there. It's not going to go nowhere. Like, especially because like, and what I mean by that is it's constantly working. Like while I'm right now in the gym with my thing, talking to you, the views and the videos are doing itself. Like they're working for me, promoting the businesses, promoting the brand, and essentially just doing a lot that I don't need to. And like in terms of, it's like real estate, once it's there, it's going to do its thing for you. Other stuff, like say like your trading account, you got to actively trade it unless you're like in a trade already and you're just kind of letting it do its thing while you know what I'm saying? But when you're day trading, it's a little bit different because you're actively like doing it, like it's active work. You know that feeling when your whole body, like after you get done hitting like a certain specific workout, I just got done hitting some legs. You know when your body just like feel like a noodle? That's how you know you did a good workout. That's how you know you did something right. You can't see the pump under all my pump covers right now, but I'm pretty sure my legs are probably veiny. My arms are probably looking crazy.
But it's all good. Once I get upstairs to take a shower and put my nice clothes on, I'm gonna feel better. Your clothes feel better when you feel better about yourself. When you feel good about your actual body, wearing the clothes, so much better. Wearing a watch feels so much better. Rolex, and some Crocs, and a high rise. My type of lifestyle. Listening to some D Savage.
All right, right now, out the gym and everything, showered up, I'm looking fresh. Come on. Got the Rolex matching with the ring, matching with the shirt type shit, but I'm about to hop on a call with one of my students. And then I also have another one in an hour, so that's the vibes as of right now. I got some content edited, but let's give some value, change some lives. Y'all know what time it is. Yo.
What's up, big dog?
What's going on, Birdie? How you doing?
Doing good.
Nah, that's what I like to hear, Birdie. Shit. What time is it over there? Man, never mind. I was hoping that you was gonna say like 7 a.m., bro. It's 12. Nah, you good though, bro. Like you're still fairly new into trading. The main thing is gonna be just education, kind of getting everything set up to where you know as what you're doing. Like right now, you're still in the beginning stages, so I recommend on WAP and everything, you have access to the blueprint. That's gonna be the first thing I want you to go through. And since you have the weekends free, I recommend just trying to get as much as you can done within that time frame, just because you're not gonna have as much time, say, during the week, you know what I mean? So that the weekends are gonna be like the prime time for it. But the first things first is gonna be the blueprint. The blueprint is gonna give you the foundation, the fundamentals. It's gonna teach you everything from candlesticks, everything from the pure basics, all that. It's gonna just be the pure basic, pure foundation, so that when you get into the meeting recordings, which are gonna be more advanced, like lessons, like more advanced topics, me talking to you as if you kind of know what the concepts are. Like imagine if you go into a class and they're just speaking Japanese, and then you're supposed to understand what they're saying. No matter how good that teacher is, no matter what they're saying, you just don't understand it. No matter how good the information is, that's like the same thing. I can give you everything when it comes to knowing what to. My dogs are tweaking. Like besides that though, this is a time game. Education, you have everything you need. The meeting recordings, you have like that in my opinion will be like a lot more complicated in the beginning just because you don't know that much yet. So yeah, like imagine like Spanish in the beginning. I don't know if you grew up speaking Spanish. Whatever you learned second, English or Spanish, I'm sure you know, and it wasn't as easy as first, but the more you do it, the more confident you get in it. The more practice you get, it just becomes second nature. Thank you. You have a good one. I appreciate it. I just got off the call with a bank and everything. I was trying to get them to ship my credit card because I'm pretty sure it got shipped to my old address, so that's pretty unfortunate. But I'm about to hop on this last one-on-one real quick before I get up out of here. Let me call him. Where's your number? Here he is. About to call my boy Michael. Give some value. No days off.
What's up, bro?
What's going on, Birdie? How you doing?
Man, just working, bro. Just working.
Nah, that's what I like to hear. No days off. No days off.
Yeah, what's going on, Phil?
Shit, nothing much. Shit, same shit. Just working. Just another day.
Yeah, just see you living good, bro.
I appreciate it. I'm out here on the sun right now, taking in the sun. Not gonna lie, the camera had died, but I need to get this analogy across because I was just telling my student Michael the same exact analogy. He was asking because he was watching a lot of the content I gave him in terms of just like the course and everything, in terms of how I trade and everything. He was asking, what price action am I paying attention to and why when we come to New York session? So I just explained it like this. When I come to the New York session at 9 in the morning, going into 11 a.m., that's the time frame that I'm trading every single day. That's my time to trade, so I'm trading at that time every single day. That is when I come to the charts. By the time I come to the charts at 9 in the morning, London session already happened. Asian session already happened. Those sessions are telling me exactly what is going to be happening next. You gotta look at the market as like a book. When you're reading a book, every word and sentence you're reading is getting you ready for the next word, getting you ready for the next sentence, trying to explain to you what's happening. You gotta look at the charts as a story. Every candle, every sequence of candles, which will be sentences in the analogy of a book, is telling you exactly what is happening, what is exactly going to happen next. When you read the words how to, you can expect that it's gonna teach you how to do something, how to read, how to swim, how to draw. It's going to teach you something, but you took that understanding from the first two words of how to. When you read Asian Sessions price action, it's telling you exactly what is likely going to happen next. When you have London Sessions price action, it is teaching you exactly what's going to happen next. So when you have Asian Sessions price action, along with London Sessions price action, all you have to do now is try to predict what is going to happen next, which is what? New York session. But you're using all the price action, all the sequences of words and sentences that is already giving you a good idea on what's going to happen next already. So it's way easier, so that when you come to New York session, you're way more likely to catch a good trade, and especially if it's towards the end of the week, because you have all of the day's price action plus all of the week's price action. So what is the chance that you have LDAT? But yeah, I thought I'd record that for you because the camera died when I had that part form, and I was like, damn, that was pretty valuable game. So luckily, I love you guys. All right, so first things first, I ordered Chick-fil-A. Spent like $50 on Chick-fil-A. I ordered more food than usual. Ain't that some shit too? Because I was hungry. I went downstairs because he was about 2 minutes away from dropping the food off. He never came. And where's the thing at? Driving continuously away from where he's supposed to be going. With all my food. Supposed to be here like 10 minutes ago. He was here and then he kept going. But with that being said, I went downstairs, and while I was waiting for the food, I got more packages of the jerky, and we're eating this shit right now. So low-key, I'm not as mad as I could be. Jerky's good, and I'll take it. I'll take it. So Gustavo, shout out to you. Cheers. Boys and girls, boys and gals, this is where the video is gonna be coming to an end. I ain't gonna lie, it's a beautiful night. I feel amazing. After a productive day, it's the most beautiful feeling that you can't buy. You can't buy just being able to relax at the end of the night because you did everything you needed to. You hit every goal. You went to the gym, you uploaded your content. Well, I'm about to upload my content, but that's the last thing I gotta do. You give value to your team. I did all my one-on-ones today. I onboarded the new student. And for the new people that are looking to join, make sure you click down below. But like, I just did everything I needed to. It was another successful day that's just gonna keep me in this position on the high rise. And this goes to show, I show you guys every single day what I do, and what do I do that you can't. I'm not doing anything magical or anything crazy. Just waking up and doing the same thing every single day. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay productive. I'm about to chow down on this beef jerky. No cap. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow's daily video.